All right, let's talk about a piece of tech that is no joke, the hidden engine behind our entire modern world. But here's the thing, most people have never even heard of it. We're diving into motor control centers, the unsung heroes that keep our industries humming. Let's get into it. I want you to picture this. You're standing on a massive factory floor. It's a symphony of noise and motion, right? You're surrounded by conveyors, pumps, fans, mixers, hundreds, maybe thousands of powerful electric motors. How on earth do you manage all that power safely and efficiently without the whole thing just descending into total chaos? That's the fundamental problem of industrial control. And the answer, the elegant solution to that chaos, is the Motor Control Center, or MCC for short. The best way to think of it is like the central nervous system of a factory. It's a single, organized cabinet that brings the control and protection for dozens, sometimes hundreds of motors, all into one command hub. So you see, what the MCC really does is solve that massive industrial control problem. It takes what could be a tangled, dangerous mess of individual switches and controls spread all over a facility, and it brings it all together. It literally creates order, safety, and efficiency out of what would otherwise be chaos. But an MCC is so much more than just a big box of on-off switches. It's a multitasking guardian, really. It gives you centralized control, which makes operations way simpler. It protects super expensive motors from electrical damage using things like overload relays. It obviously handles the basic start, stop, and speed control. It distributes massive amounts of power safely, and this one is huge for the modern world. It's the bridge to all our automation systems. Okay, so that's what an MCC does, but what's actually going on inside that big metal cabinet? Let's, metaphorically crack the door open and take a look at the core components that make this whole command hub tick. At the big picture level, the anatomy is actually really logical. First, you've got a main circuit breaker. That's the master kill switch for everything. From there, power flows to the bus bars, which are basically these heavy-duty copper highways that distribute electricity all through the cabinet. That power then gets routed into individual motor control units, often called drawers, with all the wiring kept neat and tidy in special channels called wireways. And finally, you have metering devices, which act like the panel's dashboard, telling you exactly what's going on inside. Now let's zoom in on just one of those individual drawers. Each one is its own little self-contained world for a single motor. It has a disconnect switch, which is absolutely critical. It lets a technician safely cut power right there at the unit to do maintenance. Then you've got the contactor. That's the heavy-duty switch that actually starts and stops the motor. And then, my personal favorite, the overload relay. This thing is like a bodyguard for the motor. It constantly monitors the current, and if the motor starts to overheat, it shuts it down, preventing catastrophic and very, very expensive damage. Now, these panels aren't just thrown together. They are meticulously engineered. So let's talk about how they're actually designed. It's a fascinating process that has to balance raw electrical needs, really strict safety codes, and planning for the future. The design process is incredibly thorough. It all starts with a simple question. How much power do we actually need? Engineers calculate the total load of all the motors to size the main parts correctly. Then, they have to follow super strict safety standards, like the International IEC standards or North America's NEMA standards. Next, they pick the right enclosure to protect everything from the environment, whether it's dust in a factory or rain and snow outdoors. And a really good design always leaves some extra room, because a plant's needs almost always grow over time. And this quote right here highlights a super important point. The physical layout inside isn't just about playing Tetris to make everything fit. It's all about managing heat. If you cram components too close together, they'll overheat and fail. You need proper spacing for air to circulate and, just as importantly, to give technicians enough room to work safely and effectively. And that need for space isn't just a friendly suggestion. It's often the law. Safety standards frequently require a minimum clearance, like 3 feet of clear, unobstructed workspace in front of any electrical panel. A simple number like this just goes to show how design isn't only about the machine. It's about the human who has to interact with it safely. Okay, so you might be thinking all MCCs are the same, right? Nope, not even close. Just like any good tool, there isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. They come in a whole family of types, each one designed for different needs, different budgets, and different jobs. The two most common types you'll run into are fixed type and draw out. A fixed type panel is exactly what it sounds like. All the components are bolted right in place. It's cheaper and saves space, but if one part fails, you often have to shut down the entire panel to fix it. A drawout type, on the other hand, uses those modular drawers we talked about. If a unit goes bad, you can literally just pull it out and plug in a spare in minutes. This keeps downtime to an absolute minimum. Yeah, it costs more upfront, but if you're running a 24/7 operation where downtime costs thousands of dollars a minute, well, it's a no-brainer. And of course, the evolution didn't stop there. Modern tech has turned these things into smart panels. We now have intelligent MCCs, or IMCCs, that have controllers built right in for remote monitoring and diagnostics from a control room. Panels with integrated variable frequency drives, VFDs, are a total game changer for energy savings because they let you control a motor's speed with incredible precision. And you've got specialized panels too, like reversing panels for motors that need to spin both ways. So we've geeked out on what they are, what's inside them, and how they're designed, but where do these command hubs actually do their work? Let's connect all this tech back to the real world and see where NCCs are truly the engine of industry. The short answer? Pretty much everywhere. In manufacturing, they're running the conveyor belts that build your car and the pumps that process your food. In mining and oil and gas, they're powering massive ventilation fans deep underground and heavy machinery on the surface. They are absolutely essential in water treatment plants, running the pumps and mixers that give us clean water. Heck, they're even inside power plants, controlling all the little auxiliary motors that keep the main generators running. So, if you remember one thing from all this, let it be this. Motor control centers are the invisible architecture of modern production. They take immense, powerful, and potentially dangerous electricity and they tame it, they organize it, and they distribute it with precision. They bring that critical order, safety, and efficiency to the most complex operations our entire world depends on. Which, of course, leaves us with one final big question. We've seen these things evolve from simple switchboards into intelligent, data-rich hubs as automation, AI, and predictive maintenance get more and more advanced. What do you think is next for this industrial command hub? How much smarter can it possibly get? It's something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.